This is Megan with Little Gray Squirrel. Sorry for the talking blank screen here, but I wanted to add a little intro before I got started with the tutorial. So the inspiration for this video is that I love building my fonts and graphic library so that I can create projects that I can make with my Silhouette or to share. So I get all my fonts and graphics from the sites that I recommend in my free and cheap fonts and graphics with commercial use resource guide. So I'll put a link to that in the description so you can check it out. I often see people asking, how do I use the graphics with my Silhouette? They know how to use the fonts usually, but the graphics, they want to buy them because they're so beautiful, but they don't know how to use them. So I wanted to do a project-based tutorial, so hopefully you can learn something new and make something cute. So I created this mini tutorial. It's going to be a 4-part tutorial with videos to follow along. Throughout the tutorial, I will show you how to set up your page, 3 ways to bring files into Silhouette, how to create cut lines, because graphics, unlike SVGs, only have a cut line around the perimeter of the whole image, not the graphic itself. Also, how to create a perfectly matching color scheme, how to create 4 projects that all tie together, and how to save your files. So there is a link to my blog post with the steps and videos listed in order, as well as where you can get the files and supplies used. You can also download and use the files I created in this tutorial for free when you subscribe to my email newsletter. I'll also include a list of 8 cute sayings for Valentine's cards for you to make on your own, and a link to a post of 25 cute fonts for kids and Valentine crafts, and half of them are free. So there's lots of information in this course. So I wanted to create these Valentines because they're interactive. They'll get used a little more than just a card, and they don't need candy or toys to go with them. You can also use these steps to create party invitations, birthday cards, notes for school lunches, or just because. This video is part 1. You can follow along while I create a design for a peel open Valentine card. I will try to describe the steps so that even a beginner can follow along, but it does involve some steps that may be a little advanced. Don't be afraid to try it. So let's get started. So when you open Silhouette Studio, the first thing you'll see is your blank design page, and it will be untitled unless you had opened it from a file. So you'll see up here it says untitled. This is the page we're on. I do want to note this is version 4.3.356. And it's the business edition. I just downloaded this version yesterday. This is the first time I used my Cameo 4 for the first time over the weekend, and it was perfect. I did print and cut. It cut amazing. I had really been concerned because I had been hearing a lot of not necessarily good things about the Cameo 4, and so far it has been great for me. So, you know, it's kind of one of those things you'll never know how well it'll go for you until you try it, because your problems might not be the same that somebody else had. So anyhow, just give it a try. You can always go back down to a legacy version of the software if needed. Okay, so I have my mat set up here on the page setup. It's set for my Cameo machine, my Cameo 12 by 12 inch mat, and the media size is 12 by 12. So I'm actually going to be designing on letter size paper because that's what most people have, are printers that can print that size. So I'm going to change my media size to letter. And then for a setup, I'm going to turn on the registration marks. And then these are default. This is the Cameo style here. The reason I'm going to turn this on now is because when you're designing, you can get a better idea of how many pieces or designs or what you can fit within the area on their mat. So it is easier to design with that in mind. So the first design I'm going to do is it's a Valentine, and one you can peel open. So I was going through making a list of, like I said, the 25 cute Valentine fonts, and there's one in particular that I came up across that I had downloaded late last year, and it was called Sweetheart Typeface, and it has 119 clip arts that are included. So this is by Red Ink Designs, and the designer's name is Irina, and these are super cute designs. So I will show you. So after you purchase your fonts and your designs, you'll download them, and I have them saved to my computer, And then when you open up the file, this is what you'll get. So there's the Clipart bonus and then your 2 font formats. So go ahead and double click the fonts. You can select the top one, hold shift, right click, and then you can install for all users. I already have them installed, so I'm not going to do that today, but that's how you install your fonts. And then if you go to your Clipart bonus, you can either have it in black and white or in color. And then you can choose the file format. So I'm going to be working with the PNG format today because it has a transparent background. So when you open them up, you'll see the really cute clip arts. And I'm going to show you 2 ways that you can open these in your software. So the first way, if you have your file downloaded and it's unzipped, if it comes zipped, you're going to have to unzip it in order to drag and drop. So unzip your files, choose the file that you want to open, and just click on it and drag it to your workspace, and then you can let go of your mouse. Take a few seconds, and there it is. So here's the design. So the thing with PNGs is that if you went to cut this, it doesn't have a cut line around the actual image itself. It has a cut line around the box. So that's obviously not what you want. The other thing about opening PNGs and working with this cut box is that when you're designing and you have several shapes and you go to click one out here, it's going to grab whichever one's on the top and it's going to drive you crazy. It drives me crazy. So I'm going to show you the other way. I'm just going to delete this one to open a file. So you go up here to File and down to Merge if you want to open it on the same screen. And then you choose your file and OK. And there's your graphic. It still has the big cut line around it. Something else you can do, you go to File, you can go to Open, same thing, click on your file, click on OK. It's going to open a new page, and this one is actually going to have the title of the graphic from your file. So if you drag and drop, it's going to be untitled. If you merge it, it's going to be whatever your project was named. If you open a new one, it's going to have a title already. Okay, so I don't need this one. I'm going to close it. No, I don't need to save it. And this is another one. Okay, so the first design I'm going to make today is the little peel open Valentines. And I just thought they were super cute and I have wanted to recreate them with my silhouette for a long time. So I thought Valentines would be a good reason. And then I saw these graphics and I just knew that was what it had to be. All right, so I'm going to open the graphics that I want. I'm just going to drag them onto the screen. So here's a cupcake. I actually, just going through all these adorable images, I came up with about 8 different sayings that I thought would be super cute on Valentine's cards for kids, just by looking at the images. So I have this one about is a cupcake. I have the bear. I have this the hot air balloon. So when you're dragging your file, you may have seen it just do that. If you overlap it, it will take over the place of the other one. So make sure that you drag it to a different place on the screen so that it doesn't do that. So you can have this here. Okay, so once you open up all the images you want to use, you can go ahead and close that. And then I'm going to zoom out. So I had already opened the files that I want to use. So I'm just going to delete these. And then these are rather large. So first you want to select them all and then grab a corner and shrink them down to a more manageable size. And then fill our page again. So as I mentioned before, if you want to try to grab, what you think is a heart and it grabs the edge of this, we're going to trace all these really quick. So open up the Trace tab, select your trace area, highlight these, and this is just a really quick, it doesn't have to be accurate because we're not actually going to cut these shapes out. So it's just going to take a second here. We're going to increase the threshold so they're all filled in with yellow, and because these are PNG and they have the bigger outline, we're going to trace and detach. So this will just take a second. Now I can grab each piece and they don't overlap anymore because they have just their outline. These shapes now have a cut line. So if you went to the Send panel, you would see this balloon has it. So here's the outline, and this is what it just detached it from. So this balloon now has its cut line, and then this piece here we're actually just going to delete. So I'm going to go through, set my graphics to one side, and then delete the rest of these parts here that I don't want. Alright, so I'm going to grab the heart, the balloon, and I'm going to actually delete a bunch of this here because it's in my way. And if you want to see it, you can also turn on, you can give the line a color, and that will help you see what needs to be deleted here. And then this little heart here had a little outline of dots, and I don't want to lose those, so I'm going to group those together. Oh, actually there's a little part there. I don't know what that is, but we'll get rid of it. Okay, so now I'm going to group these together and change the line to transparent. The line style in the version 4.3 is really cool, that it keeps your recently used. It's very handy. Alright. So these are the different designs that I want to use for my project. I'm going to turn them right side up. Alright. So the first project I'm going to do is the peel open. I estimated that a Valentine is about 4 inches tall and 2 3/4 inches wide. So I'm just going to draw a box, and I'm going to change this to 2.75 inches wide, 4 inches tall, and there is this is my Valentine. So these are, it's 2 pieces to make one Valentine. So I'm going to have the front that has a perforated border, and then I'm going to have the back, which is solid. So I'm going to duplicate this rectangle. So I'm going to select it, right click, and duplicate. I'm going to set this one to the side, and then this one, I'm going to select it, and I'm going to go to the internal offset panel, and I'm going to give it a 1/4 inch offset. So I'm just going to click to increase the distance until I get to 0.25. Now this perimeter that we're creating is where you're going to glue the 2 pieces together. So if you're going to use like a tape runner, go ahead and make this distance here the size of your tape, just so it's a little easier. But I was just using glue, so 0.25 is fine. And go ahead and apply. And then this inside is selected. I'm going to change this to, and I open the line style tab, and I'm going to change this to a perforated line so that it can be torn open. And then in order to have a place to open it up at, I need to make a little tab. So I'm going to go to my drawing tools and select ellipse, and I'm just going to draw an oval. And then, so it's gonna, I'm gonna cut this in half here, but I just kind of want to get an idea for the size. Okay, in order to cut it in half, I'm gonna fill it with color. So you can also fill with color up here. And I'm just gonna choose red. I'm gonna grab my knife tool and select it. That's not in the middle. Right in the middle. And you'll see when it's perpendicular because the bottom set of numbers goes away. There. And then click. Okay, so now I have two circles here, or two half circles. Wasn't exactly perfect, but that's fine. Okay, so I'm going to use this one. I'm going to flip it horizontally, and I'm going to select these shapes, go up to Object, Align, and I'm going to align middle. Now I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to move this shape right up next to this line here. Just using the cursor on my keyboard. There we go. And you can go ahead and change this back to transparent. And make sure that it is lined up nicely. Which it is. Okay, so I found in making these that it's helpful to have this oval line up with the dashed line. So it's not right here. I'm going to select this and I'm just going to drag it up a little bit until it's going to overlap with those. And it's fine that this dotted line is here. It doesn't matter. So now we can zoom back out. Make sure it's aligned. And that is all set. So this is essentially the foundation for any type of peel open card. And now we're going to decorate it with our graphics over here. So I can delete this part because I don't need it. I have two that I'm going to make. So I'm going to select these, duplicate, and drag down. You can also, duplicate these, and drag it down. So here's where I know I'm working within my print and cut borders. Okay, so the first one, I'm going to use the bear, and it's going to say you are very special. So click on the text icon, and it's going to say you are, and I'm going to do another one, berry, berry, and special. Depending on the design that I end up with, I like to separate the words. So instead of typing out you are very special in one text group, I have them broken up into the ways that I'm going to center them and have them on my card. So it's easier to place them where I want without having to worry about spaces and that kind of stuff. So now we can go ahead and hold the shift and select all your text. And we're going to choose our font. So open the text style and you can type in sweetheart. And there it is. I duplicated this first panel because the design of the second one needs to be within the inner box, this perforated line, because anything outside of there is going to be glued together, as I mentioned before. So now we can put the text you are very special And within there, if we need to, we can, I'm going to make the bear a little bit smaller. And when you have a design, a font that has little intricacies, you want to try to make it as big as you can so that you don't lose the details. So we'll just leave this as it was, and this fits pretty well. I can raise the bear a little bit more, and then just go ahead and select it all. Go to Object, Align, Center. There. And then now we can work on our color. So we can go ahead and get rid of these lines, delete them. In order to create a perfectly matching color scheme, the best tool you can use, we'll go to the Fill panel, is this eyedropper. So we're going to select our text, and again hold the Shift, and then grab the eyedropper tool, and then just choose a color that you want your text to be. So we're going to start with our background. So I selected the background, select the eyedropper, and then I'm going to make the background pink. There. And then we're going to just send it to the back because our little bear disappeared. So now there's our bear. Our text, we also have other parts of the design that we're going to be using. So I'm going to use pieces, I'm going to use colors from this balloon. And I'm going to select the text, hold the Shift key, grab the eyedropper, and I'm going to use this dark. There. So now you see a bunch of the red. So in order for the details inside the letters to show up, I'm going to color them the same as the background here. So with the text selected, I need to make sure I change back to line style, go to color, grab the eyedropper, and change it to the background. Okay, so this is the inside, and then I'm going to add some decorations here. So grab a couple of hearts. So here's a heart, and I'm going to put this one over here also. It's very cute. Okay, so this is pretty much finished inside. Okay, now we're going to do the outside. So first let's color the background. So select the outer box. Make sure you open the Fill panel. Grab the eyedropper, and I'm going to make it this aqua color here. And then I'm going to add a little envelope. I'm going to bring it to the front so I can see it. Shrink it down just a little bit. And then I'm going to write to and from, because this is the outside. So it's kind of in its own envelope. So I'm going to type to, from, and then I'm going to change the font to Sweetheart, but I'm going to use a different font from the family. Okay, so I have Sweetheart here, and this is the one that we used over here, but there's three that I mentioned. So there's Sweetheart, Sweetheart Black, and Sweetheart Simple. So I'm going to zoom in a little. So this is Sweetheart Black, and this is Sweetheart Simple. So I like it with the little heart, so we're going to do Sweetheart Black, and we are going to fill the text with color using the eyedropper, and I'm going to use the same as the background here. And then we're going to change the line to pink. And let's make it a little bit smaller. And then we want to place it inside this little cut line. And then we can select both of these, holding the shift, and then let's go up to Object, Align, and align it to the left, so it looks nice. Alright, and this is all done. So now we can design another one. Okay, so this one we can go through a little more quickly. I'm going to delete this one, move it off to the side, select all of this one, right click, duplicate, bring it down here, and I'm going to change the color to the dark and the line color to the dark one. And then the background, I'm going to make a lighter pink. Actually, I'm going to use the eyedropper. There we go. And the inside, so I'm going to grab this line here, select them both, Object, Align, Center, Object, Line, Middle, and then now I can design in here also. So I'm going to use the cupcake, and I'm going to duplicate this heart so I can use it in here, and I'm going to duplicate this heart, and then I'm going to make some more text, and this is going to say, "Hey, cupcake." You're pretty sweet. And I'm going to go ahead and use the same Sweetheart font, which is up here in my recently used. And it's kind of big, so I'm just going to shrink it down a little bit. And then I can align these in the center and the cupcake as well. And this one I'm going to change the direction a little bit. Whoops. And make it just a little bit smaller so that it's not competing with the main part of the design. And actually I'm going to make the cupcake just a little bit bigger. There we go. Now let's change the font color to the dark purple. And the line color is actually going to be the background color, which I'm going to do the teal aqua color. So I'm going to go ahead and do the background as well. Send it to back. So my design show up. And there we have it. There are two different designs. And then they just get print and cut. Let's go up to File and Save As. save to your hard drive, and then choose, where do you save your files to? Do you save them to your hard drive on your computer? Do you save them to I use an external hard drive. You don't want to save your files to the library, because these are files that you yourself have created, and Silhouette does not guarantee that those will be able to be accessed in the future. So you always want to save anything you create to your own computer or external hard drive. So that being said, go to File, Save, choose the location. So if I send it to my passport, then give it a file name, and then you're going to save it as whatever file you like. So if it's a file that you're going to use again in Studio, you can choose Studio. If it's you want to share an image, you can save it as a PNG or a JPEG. If you want to be able to use it on like a Cricut or something else, you can save it as a SVG. You can save it as a PDF. So these are all options, save options that they have in the business edition, which is super cool. I use to save it as a PNG and a JPEG all the time. Super handy. So yeah, you would want to save your file. I'm going to cancel this. And that way, next time you open it up, it's all ready to cut and you're done. So for each of these projects, save them.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more videos where we have fun and make stuff. Also, follow Little Gray Squirrel on Pinterest and on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter to see what's new.